We are from Ecuador, representing the Colegio Americano of Quito. This is Jorge Gonzalez, Ana Laura Calisto, Sofia Nieto. I'm Nicole Neidel, and we're going to present you our plan for our green school. Please be free to ask any questions during the presentation.
Okay, so again, what is the focus of our project? Well, we are planning to reforest our school in order to counteract the heat island effect. And so what is the heat island effect? It's mainly caused by the removal of vegetation and the construction of roads and buildings. This causes an increase in temperature within cities compared to rural areas around it. The problem is that our water supply is affected by this by making it scarce for citizens. It causes droughts and forest fires.
Okay, so our temperature statistics in Quito. Quito's temperature has been increasing by 0.41 centigrades per decade. From this 0.41, 15% of that is due to the heat island effect. In this graph here, you can see how the temperature has increased and decreased over the past 100 years. And you can see a trend of the slope. This graph does not show is not included with the heat island effect. So in the red line here, you can see the increase of 0.35 in the past decade. Our population increase has also been increasing by 400,000 people per decade. In these two pictures here, you can these are taken from the Panecillo, which is like it's mainly the center of Quito. It's the center of the city. So in 1857 and in 2012, we can see how the population has increased and the construction has increased. This affects us because when the construction increases, our temperature rises, and that affects the heat island effect. In this table down here, we can see in the previous decade, the population has increased more or less 400,000 people, and in the prior year as well. Okay, when the temperature increases, our water supply is affected because when the temperature increases, it affects the tundras nearby Quito's area. And the tundras are very important to Quito because we get 90% of our water processed by the tundras. So when the temperature increases, the tundras get dry and we get less water. We get 5% of our water from our great glaciers. These are our two primary sources of water, which is Cotopaxi and Tizana. And in the past decade, we've had a 10 millimeter precipitation decrease of water.
Okay, so as we could see, the heat island effects a problem which is affecting us right here and right now. So in our school, we have come with 3 solutions to counteract it. The first solution is planting trees, which is the one we're going to apply in our school. And first of all, it's because it's much more inclusive, and it's not as expensive as the other ones. So the other one was white roofs, which, as you can see, it consists in painting the top of the buildings or roofs white. This helps with the heat island effect because the materials, instead of absorbing heat, like absorbing radiation from the sun and releasing it as heat, it reflects it back to the atmosphere. Then the other solution is green roofs. This is actually a pretty effective one, but it's really expensive because it consists in isolating the roofs and then planting on them. And as we can see in this chart below, this is like a chart and information gathered from a report made at New York City, which shows how much the change is when they change from pavement to trees and from grass to trees. First, we can see that from pavement to trees, the change in temperature is from 2 degrees Celsius, like around a year, and 2.5, like the maximum they recorded. Then when they change from grass to trees, the average temperature along the year is 0.6 degrees Celsius and 1.7 degrees. Here we can see that even though we change from grass to trees, there's still a change in the temperature. And this applies because we're going to, in our school, there's no asphalt or pavement we can remove to plant trees, so we're going to plant in areas with soil and with grass.
Okay, so why? Why should we plant trees in order to counteract the heat island effect? for 3 reasons. The first is the plant's evapotranspiration cooling effect, and this means that the plant, through its roots, receives the water, and then it goes up the stem and into the leaves. To go from liquid to gas, the plant needs energy to do that. So it takes the heat from the atmosphere and turns the liquid into into gas. And this results in the cooling effect that we're looking for. The second reason is the plant's albedo, and the albedo effect is the amount of solar radiation reflected back from the surface. This is really important for a project since man-made surfaces have a tendency to have a lower albedo, which means that they reflect heat instead of light. Plants have they have a medium high albedo, and it's useful because they reflect light immediately. And the third one is that man-made materials tend to store more heat, which means that they have a higher heat capacity. And this causes that during the nighttime, surfaces such as the sides of buildings and asphalt will release heat and cause the heat island effect, which is at night the temperature within the city is much higher than in other parts.
Also, by planting trees, we're not only going to counteract the heat island effect, but we're also going to have another benefits. The two most important is that the roots help to stabilize soil, and this helps a lot in our city because it's really windy, and this drags the soil away and causes damages to the other ecosystems. Also, the leaves provide shade, which helps also to reduce the wind speed. So basically, in our school plan, it's to reforest our school. We have in our school about 4,000 square meters to plant trees, and by consulting experts, we see that each tree needs about 16 square meters in diameter, which gives us a space for 250 trees. This is our map of our school, and first of all, it's not to scale and it's not updated. So in these areas here, we can see here we have a new nursery, so the space is reduced, and the left space is around here, and we have about 3,000 meters in there, and in that cart right there we have 1,000 meters, and the trees that we can see there is where we can plant trees because they're in right now there are no trees in that section.
So how are we gonna do this? First, our plan is to give second graders the chance to plant the tree. They will take care of the tree until they're throughout the whole year until they're in 6th grade, and once they're in 6th grade, they will bequeath or inherit the tree to new second graders. This idea will be planned in 5 spaces. In each phases, the students will be divided in groups of 3, and they will be given 50 trees, and they will be they have to take care of it. And we have approximately 250 trees. So 250 trees in total to plant. For this, we're gonna have 150 students per grade because that's how our school is. We have 150 students per grade. Therefore, we're gonna divide them in 3, as I said, and we're gonna teach the students how to take care of the plant and of the tree. They will learn the impact of one tree in the environment, and they will be learning topics related to this project. So therefore, they will be learning at the same time they will be planting the tree, and it will be like a social interactive project. For this, we'll provide teacher a curriculum that they will not necessarily need to follow, but they can guide themselves within the project, and they could connect this tree project to their normal activities.
Okay, so the curriculum that we're going to give the teachers, the second grader teachers, for them to interact with the planting the trees and the lesson unit is this. We've gathered the science unit curriculum from 2nd to 6th grade, and we've adjusted our ideas to their curriculum. So since in 2nd grade they will be planting the trees, and our lesson is to show them why trees are important and how do we plant them, and that relates to environment, natural resources, and conservation. As well as in 3rd grade, they will be measuring soil, air, and water, and how to do that. And that relates to their unit about weather and climate. In 4th grade, they will be learning about the heat island effect. That relates to the changing energy, heat, and temperature. In 5th grade, they will be learning about where does our water come from, and that relates to their unit in the water cycle. And in 6th grade, they will be learning about soil, what the soil contains, and the nutrients that the plant needs. And that relates to their unit in science about elements and physical and chemical compounds.
Okay, so the activity we have set up here is to teach the students in a more understandable way what is the main point of our project. So first we have 2 empty beakers that are the same, and we collect 100 milliliters of water. And we have it already set up here, and we covered the first beaker, we covered it with aluminum foil to represent the plant. And then the second beaker, we covered it with a black plastic bag to represent the asphalt, in this case a man-made material. And they've both been setting up, it's set up under this light source, under the same time and temperature and the same circumstances. So I'm going to measure now like the temperature it has so we can see what is the heat island effect. Okay. So this activity is really important for the project because we're trying to set an example for little kids so they learn about this and they grow up with an environmental conscious awareness. Okay, and okay, so while I was looking at it, the first one was 20 degrees, and then the second one was 20.4 degrees. Okay, so can anyone tell me what does like the experiment I just did tell us about the atmosphere and the heat island effect?
That the man-made material, when we took the temperature, it was higher, right? So man-made material reflects more heat, right?
Yes, and like the reason we chose the aluminum foil. Oh, good work.
It also connects a bit with what you said about the white ceiling, because then like the white ceiling would reflect the light and not absorb as much heat, whereas like the black one would absorb more. And that like you can see that when you're in the sun wearing like a black shirt compared to when you're wearing like a white one.
Yes, and that also explains the reason why we chose aluminum foil, because it's a surface that reflects light immediately, and that means it doesn't store a lot of heat. And then in contrast, this black plastic bag stores heat more easily, and that represents what the heat island effect is in the big scale.
So how are we gonna pay for this project? Basically, doing the math, we need about $500 a year. First of all, $350 for the plants because we need 50 plants a year and each plant costs around $7. Then $100 for the 2 months there are no students and somebody needs to take care of the plants. And then $50 for other costs. First, how we're going to, we have this tradition in our school in which Valentine's Day we sell roses and we deliver them during class time. What we plan to do is replacing the roses by these bracelets that we're going to do. And the cost per bracelet is it's going to be around 5 cents. And we're going to set it at $1. The forecasted sales is 900 students because in the secondary section we have 150 students per grade. There are 6 grades, so some buy more, some buy less. So in average we set 900 bracelets, which gives us a total gross profit of $900, and the net profit will be $855. What we're going to do with the leftovers from what comes with our project, it's going to be given to the student council for them to do other activities in the school. Also, this is just a prototype. It's not like the final thing we're going to do. We're still planning on it.
So this is the end of our presentation, but the most important part of it, that is what plants are we going to use for the reforestation in the school. For this, we decided to use native species that are found in Ecuador, and we decided that the arrayán is this one. Then we have the cholan and the pumamaki. These trees have a water frequency about 3 times a week, all of them. They vary in a price of $7, and they come in a regular size for planting, so the students will be easily, for the second graders will be easily for them to plant. They grow up about 6 meters or more or less, and they can grow up even more. There's no exact number, and they provide a shade of 6 meters in diameter once they are fully sized. Then we also have this different ones that are the ficus, vielenos, las chofleras, and acacias. These trees are a little bit less, they need a little bit less water frequency. They cost the same. They have a little bit, like, they're more regular in the size per planting. And the adult size are a little bit bigger. That this means they will provide a little bit more shade or more the same. It depends on how much the tree will grow through the passing years. So why our first options are the ones we're focusing more, because those are the ones that are more easily found in Ecuador and are more suitable for our environment.
So thank you for being here. Do you have any questions about our presentation?
Right now we have somebody else.
There's a question. Questions?
Of course, have you already presented this plan to your initial, has it already been approved? And if so, how did you present it? And if not, how do you plan on presenting this to your school to be approved?
We already presented it and it's approved. We still need to talk to the teachers to match our, like, what we plan on them teaching and on what they're going to teach, because there will need to be some movements in that curriculum for each year, but we're in process of it.
And we already presented to the authorities, if that's your question, and they approved. We just need to actually start working with the...
But like, how did you just present them this PowerPoint, or did you have email them, like?
No, we used the same
We
PowerPoint.
just presented it to you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And a video that was gonna be, that you all gonna
No,
look at
no,
the video.
You did say that the first 3 trees are native to Ecuador. Were the other 4 are also
Yes.
native to Ecuador?
They're all native to Ecuador, but the first 3 are more suitable for the environment our school's in. So therefore, even though they, in the chart we see that the other ones need less care, they have a higher mortality rate because the environment is not as, like, proper for them.
Yes, but there are also options. We have to, like, we need to have a lot of options in case that we can't find the same amount of trees we need for each student or each year.
How long does each tree, do you guys know how long each tree grows? So,
Like, over time.
Yeah.
They told me about 10 years. Like, it's really slow, but that's the point of it, because we want to make a plan that is like a cycle. That each student will take care of their tree until they're in 6th grade, they graduate, and the new students from 2nd grade will not take care of the tree, but they will not plant, but take care of a tree that's already been planted.
Okay, so you're not making every 2nd grade start with planting a
We
tree?
are,
It
but
basically
first-
the first 5 will plant the trees, and then since we don't have as much space in our school, they will just take care of a tree that's already there, planted by a previous second.
But still, they will have this initiative of taking care of a plant, and they will still be learning the same. So in a way, it's like more interactive kind of learning. So they are learning about the global issue and the impact on the environment, as they are like actually taking care of the tree, and the fact of going to the garden to water the tree will make them more interactive.
Okay, go.
Sorry for putting you on the spot again, but of course, once you plant trees, how do you plan on watering them, because this was a problem at our school. We tried reforestation, but the plants would just die because we weren't watering them correctly, we didn't have correct irrigation system.
So basically, if we are not basing ourselves in the irrigation system, what the students will do is once a week, they will go during their science class, since it's going to be part of their curriculum, they're going to water the trees and learn and see how the trees are developing.
Since they're learning how to plant a tree while they are actually doing, the science teachers will take care of that part of how to do the planting in second grade. And once they know, they will just start learning new things.
You have a question?
How is gonna be the participation with high school or middle school students?
Okay.
Because you are talking about the awareness,
Yeah,
environmental
okay.
for kids, but usually teenagers, they are not, so.
Okay, so first of all, as you can see the bracelets, we need a lot of them. For those, the CAS students, that are the environmental CAS students that are in 11th grade, they will be doing the bracelets, and then they will be selling throughout all secondary school. And with that money, we are going to be able to buy the trees. The high school students will not be directly involved, but they will be presented this PowerPoint, so they know what the purpose of buying this new bracelet is, and they know they will be contributing to the school reforestation plan.
Also, since the CAS students only have CAS, like environmental CAS in 11th grade, they will be given this or a similar presentation for them to pass it on to the next CAS students. And then the next CAS students have to also go to the teachers as well and to the new kids and present them and let them know what they're doing and helping them with the learning, you know.
CAS students will be the ones that will be in charge of this project and will be there if any issue they have within the students or within the new teachers. School each year changes a parallel. Each 2 years it changes a parallel, and each 2 years we have a variation of teachers. So they need to be learning again the plan, and they will need to be presented again our plan of reforestation, so they can adapt it to their science class. And the CAS students will be in charge of this because we are going to graduate this year, so we will not be there to teach them how.
So your GIN group is like an elective in the curriculum of your school?
We have this CAS, which is community and service. So it's required in 11th grade. So the people who are in the 11th grade, like during 11th grade in the CAS, they're also gonna do measurements of the temperature change to see what's the effect and if it's having a result counteracting the heat island effect. But we're also not only going to focus on them, but we're going to make sure that everybody knows what we're doing. Also for them to contribute with the bracelets and all that.
Any more questions?
So now we're gonna do like a round of questions, so you guys can earn 10.
So raise your hand if you know the answer, and I'm gonna. Can you explain what the albedo effect is?
It's basically the reflectivity of an object and how much it absorbs and how much it reflects back into the atmosphere.
Catch.
Thank you.
These are what are in candies.
They're typical for
From here we have. Can somebody please give us examples of albedo? 3 examples of albedo.
That have materials that have a high albedo.
3 examples of
High
high albedo.
albedo surface.
Guess.
High albedo means that they reflect more, by the way. And low albedo, it's usually darker colors to the floor.
The aluminum foil was high albedo, and the asphalt was
Suggest we have to hide.
Well, foil,
1.
surfaces like with lighter colors, like you know those cars that are white.
Yes.
And concrete, like but white concrete, like not dark concrete.
Yes. 3. Catch.
Now, 3 examples of low albedo.
forests.
Okay.
No, no, the ones that attract heat.
Absorb the
Yeah,
reflection.
that, the black
Like
one.
the black.
Yes.
Asphalt.
Okay.
Asphalt, that's one.
She's like, can I say just one?
Also mention
Black
like
color,
the
just black.
buildings, like
Yes.
man-made structures in general.
Yes.
Good
Catch.
say.
Yes, it's great.
Catch.
Okay, and, okay, so why did we choose to plant trees instead of the other two strategies we mentioned to reduce the heat on the effect?
The least expensive.
And there was another.
Now, which one?
You
Who can
give
give
us
an
second
option?
reasons.
And because it's also like a long-term project, we're going to adapt, like have students like develop it throughout the years.
Catch again.
Now, also, like by seeing our project, which of the three mitigation strategies do you think would be the most adaptable to this school?
But what you, like you're saying, if you're not part of the school, from what you have seen, which mitigation strategy would you use in this school?
Well, we're doing like a project here for 2020, and we're putting in green roofs, and we're planting more trees. So
That's the biggest strategy.
cut.
Who can briefly explain our school plan?
Wait, but can you do it in steps?
And like by steps.
Step by step, how
One first question.
you can say just one step and then.
So the first.
Here.
Well, you start off purchasing, well, you already purchased the seeds. And then, oh, okay, well, you start off purchasing the seeds,
Okay, great.
and then,
Yeah,
Let's
just
say
by steps.
step by step.
So everybody gets the chance to get again.
that's work for me.
But first you gotta get the money to purchase the seeds. You need to sell the.
Well,
So,
eventually, after all these little steps, you will actually give the second graders the trees and like, here you go, plant them and take care of the trees.
Yeah, we'll help them though.
Yeah, help
But
them.
first you have to present the curriculum to the teachers, right?
Exactly.
Would you guys plan, I don't know if you said this, weren't you guys trying to put white roofs?
Yeah, we're doing that.
we have, like,
Oh, you already have?
in some part of the school, there's like plastic already.
Which one did you get before? This
Huh?
one?
I like the ball.
You like this one?
We have more though,
You wanna try another one?
I like the comfort zone.
And you talked about like passing the knowledge to the sixth, from the sixth grade to the 12th grade.
I'm sorry?
Oh, you guys get ready?
Passing the knowledge from the
so-
sixth graders to the
Second
graders.
Second one.
So,
Any,
who can recall our why we choose aluminum in our experiment to represent the group?
Let me see if I can upload this on
Yes,
YouTube.
any more black?
You want another
More black?
So good.
You want?
You can give it to him, I don't want.
Both, you want? Cut. Yeah?
No. Alright, and can someone please tell us another way which you could use it to reduce heat island effect and
And what's not mentioned here? If you give us a good example, we'll give you all that. A good example
To
of
capture the heat island effect.
okay,
that another like project we could use.
It's kind of similar, but like, you said green roof, but like green windows. Kind of similar,
Like,
but.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We'll still give it to them.
Oh my God.
To them.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Who has
Another good idea?
No, I said the green windows.
I don't know if this is actually like something you could, well, you could engineer it, I don't know. So this is what happened to my building, like, it started growing ivy at the bottom, and then like, a couple years later, it just covered the entire building. So now, it's like green everything.
Rebuilding.
It just covers the entire thing. It does.
But what about the humidity?
And it does it by itself.
What about?
We have problems with the humidity in the roof.
Not really, cause well, it doesn't like we've kept it because we have kind of like a roof where you go out like onto, so we've kept like we've cut it from the roof, but like there's no like problems with humidity that's affecting us.
Yeah, it's essentially a good one.
Because it does it by itself.
Yeah.
Any other solution that doesn't involve planting on the
Oh, with goat? Okay.
So,
Good job. This is quite huge.
Okay, but you have a time.
I'll get back to you.
good job, guys.
So what we wanted to ask you and like further discuss it, and like you can just talk, you don't need to raise your hand or anything. But like, why is Quito and effect part of the 20 problems, 20 years initiative? Why is it so important to fix, and why is it such a relevant problem? Can anyone like?
Can you repeat the question?
Why is Quito and effect part of the 20 years, 20 problems to fix? Why is it so important?
Wouldn't it be because
Like, how does this United Effect reflects, like, connects with this dream proposal? That,
Why is it part of like? Why did they put it up? Why is it so important to fix?
If I'm not mistaken, like one of the 20 problems was global warming. Yeah. And the heat island effect would like is the tendency is to like keep raising the temperature. So if we like do something about it, then the temperatures wouldn't raise as much. Or
any other commentaries, more like a discussion rather than correct answers?
We're gonna give you all kinds of
Here you go. I think you like chocolate.
You can take two.
It's only chocolate, so I hope you like chocolate.
These are really
Yeah,
good.
Do you like chocolate?
oh, have you guys? Because at our school we have a
You want one?
it's not really a greenhouse. It's more like just a nursery. Have you guys ever thought about doing something like that?
Yeah, this is just a pilot that we're planning. So then if it goes good, we're eventually gonna have that, and we're gonna talk with other schools and
For example, in my school, like we have garden club. I don't know, and people go there and they just plant stuff.
When I was little, we had that. It was the science garden. And we went there and we're trying to simulate that, but instead of with fruits and that, with trees.
Why don't you do that with high school people? Like, we use it as cast hours, and it actually helps us a lot because we need 150 hours of action. I don't know, that'd be a good idea to get involved high school students.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And maybe expanding on her idea about getting the high school students involved. I mean, this is a little farther down the road, of course, but I mean, we can maybe think of solar panels, so it kind of absorb the sunlight and also reflect some of it. So they're shiny, shiny.
But that's further along.
That's just saying. So that's another way you can involve the high school students by calculating how much they're saving.
Yeah, and because it's another, a more complex part than rather a tree. Right? That's a good idea.
any more questions or comments on the proposal?
Some feedback we could use for the actual development of the project.
Some recommendations we can
Go on.
Have you guys tried, I don't know, not just sticking with your own group, but expanding towards, I don't know, Stuco, to all the other groups? I mean, this is a big problem that should be taken school-wide, not just gym.
We were actually discussing that.
mentioned before, this is just a pilot. If it goes good, we are going to talk with other schools and other identities, parts of the municipality in Quito, so we can apply it.
Once we know it's working in our school and it's actually connected to our plan and how it's supposed to be working, we want to present it to other schools. And also, once it's presented to other schools, it's rather their choice if they want to accept it. But also to the nearby areas of school, that is urban places, to the municipality of Quito and maybe, I don't know, present a card with the project and see if they want to actually take care of this
In parks, also it's very good to plant them on the sidewalks and in the middle of the part that divides the streets. That's really good for cities in general to have trees there. It helps a lot with the climate effect.
And it also protects from car crashes and other accidents.
One of the main ideas of GIN is the leadership for young people. So you should take one 8th grader, for example, to be the leader of that little group of 3 2nd graders. And I don't know, one special day, 1 week for something of the environmental celebration or holidays or something. Make some activities, because I feel that your project is really good, but you take off the middle school and high school students, and I know why, because they are shocked. When you are trying to talk about trees with kids, they are gonna be excited. So that should be an idea to help them to be leaders in some activities with kids.
Start with an environmental week.
We have a nerd day in which like they do activities and I think we have an assembly and stuff. So maybe we could like tell the
And actually the primary just had an assembly, like all primary, where they discussed recycling and all those issues, and like the older ones explained the little ones, and it was really cool. I was there like for a minute, but it was very interactive, and it was like how to throw the trash, and you could actually see they are like they're worried about that and they take care. And in secondary, like we could do that. We have to see how they work though.
Yeah, thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you, guys.